All right, folks, what is going on? Back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about some Georgia Southern Eagles going against Fresno State. I think we're going to have a fantastic day for Eagle Nation, and I cannot wait for this game to start. Ever since the Sam Houston game last year with the bowl game, I wanted us to get back on the field, and this is where we are. So if this is your first time here to this channel, welcome. I appreciate you. Shout out to the Fresno State fans that may be watching as well. I think it's going to be a really good game. Over here, I talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football, and I throw a little bit of Atlanta Hawks in the mix as well. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the content. I'm going to go out and say this already. Coach Clay Helton has put a really good team together, and it usually takes around 4 years to do so. And this is his 4th year as a coach, and I think this team is very good. Could be one of the top teams, if not the top team, in the group of 6 in the FBS. You look at guys like the J.C. Frenches of the world. You see, Dalen Cobb, O.J. Arnold, the Marcus Sanders, Camden Brown, even on defense with Braden Harrington. It's just so much talent across the board. I think we'll be able to go up against E.J. Warner. I think we'll be able to go up against the other guys that they have, and we'll talk about them shortly. And I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on how that's going to happen. So even though Fresno State is going to be the home team, and they're going to be playing somewhat of a night game, it's going to be to their advantage to be at home and playing under their lights. There's no doubt about that. But one thing I will say about Coach Clay Helton and what he puts together on the road, they do fairly well, and they play fairly formidable for the most part. And I think that's what's going to bode well for Georgia Southern. Now, you have E.J. Warner, 18 of 29, threw 2 interceptions in the last game that he played against Kansas. One thing I will say is that we did try to recruit E.J. Warner to be our quarterback for Georgia Southern. I think he ended up going to Rice, and then he transferred to Fresno State. It is what it is. But when you look at these other guys that they have as well, the running back Donaldson, wide receiver Jay Freeman, Claypool. When I watched this game, I did see a few guys that did stand out a bit, but I just didn't see anything that make me think that, okay, Georgia Southern's going to have a problem with such and such person. And I mean, it is what it is. They had a bad game against Kansas. I do expect for them to get a little bit better. And but from what I saw, I think Georgia Southern can exploit a few things. When you look at the offensive line, I think with guys like a Davon Hicks or a guy like, Harrington, Brendan Harrington, guys that's on that front 4 or even in that front 7, we should get some pressure on E.J. Warner and possibly get some turnovers. So I think defensively, I think we're fine. Now, the only thing, and I know this is not very characteristic of me to even say this because we know what Georgia Southern offense can do. I am a little bit worried about the offense because even if the defense can hold Fresno State down, our offense is going to have to not turn the ball over. Now, J.C. French had 11 interceptions last season, and we don't want to go in this game putting any possessions into Fresno State's hand. Take care of the ball. Try to keep J.C. French upright. And I dare I say, even though the passing game could be very formidable with our receivers, I do think we should try to implement the run first. Now, I know how Coach Clay Helton is. That may not be the case. He likes to pass the ball. He likes to throw the ball around. And with him and Ryan Applin as the, basically the masterminds behind the offense, I do expect, J.C. French to probably try to throw for maybe 275, 300 plus yards. I mean, that's just how the way this offense rolls. The days of Georgia Southern primarily running the ball is pretty much out the window. And it was somewhat successful for the past, year and a half so far. We managed to get a winning season. We managed to do some things that was pretty formidable. But I do feel at the end of the day, I think the running game on this in this situation probably would help. Also, if we do pass, I would like for us to be, well, I know we're going to pass. But when we do pass, I hope we are as efficient as the quarterback that was with Kansas. I mean, I think he only had 2 incompletions. I mean, if that's the case for Georgia Southern and the way we throw the ball around, I think that we'll be able to probably rack up 4 to maybe 500 yards. I mean, I'm dead serious. It's just the firepower that we have at receiver that I'm definitely looking at. And when you look at, like I said, Camden Brown, Marcus Sanders, KD Dorsey, Josh Dallas, Carlos Mays may get some run. Dalen Cobb. I mean, you got these guys that are ready to go Elijah Walton, River Helms, J.P. McCall. You got a lot of guys that can catch the ball for Georgia Southern, which will probably be a little bit overwhelming. But at the same time, the more you throw, the more chances you do have to turn the ball over. So this is why I kind of say lean on the run first and just see where it goes from there, because I would like for us to make some things happen on that end. Now, as far as Fresno State, I think they can get some things going in on the offense if they're able to get a little bit of rhythm. Like I said, Donaldson, their running back, only had 34 yards, but even though they only had a lackluster game, they're playing at home. So even if they can get the run set up, that's going to make things easier for E.J. Warner. And also, this is what you also look at, they could probably open up some things for their receivers as well. So the defense, Georgia Southern defense is going to have to try to clamp some things down as far as not letting them get in a rhythm of anything. Just because they had a bad game, that does not mean that they're going to be able to have another bad game. I expect to see a somewhat different team, but to be quite honest, the much more I think about it, I do think Georgia Southern has the better team. I do think Georgia Southern has the passing game. I think they have too many weapons for Fresno State to actually sit here and try to make this somewhat of a game. And speaking of that, even if it is somewhat of a game, I do expect Georgia Southern to probably win this game. And I'll just say it out on a limb right now, probably by at least 14 points. I think this could be a 14-point win. At the minimum, we win by 3. So I just don't see anything here that Fresno State will overcome what Georgia Southern does. But, anything can happen. But for me, with my bias, you see my clothes and see what I got. You see the background back here. I am a Georgia Southern fan. I love this team, and I would like to see them go very far. And the first team they got to go through is Fresno State. And based on what we've seen with Fresno State, I really just don't see anything that will tell me that they're going to come out the gate swinging and give us a run for our money. I feel like Georgia Southern just basically don't have to make any mistakes. That's basically what it is. I do feel that even though that ESPN, and I know you probably seen it on the screen already, ESPN already has the matchup predictor as Fresno beating us, 51% chance to 48.8. I mean, that's almost a toss-up, right? I mean, that's not really much to lean your hat on. And for us, the flip side of this, ESPN Sports book has us a 1.5-point favorite. So it's like we don't know what this is, I mean, probably definitely a safe bet to take that bet if you want to take it. I mean, you're not going. I mean, you make a little bit of money on the back end, but I just feel like Georgia Southern, what they got right now, is a very formidable team, and I think they're just going to have enough to beat Fresno State. And I think being away, I think 14 points would be somewhat of a statement game, but I do see it at the same time. I'm looking at the talent, and I'm looking at all the other guys on defense, the Chase Gambles. You got all these other guys that are here, Brendan Harrington. Let me see who else I want to look over here, because I can't name everybody off the top of my head, but I do have some guy like Jacob Hammonds. He was probably gonna get some run. Defensive tackle. Oh my goodness, I done lost his name. What's the defensive tackle name? And you still got MJ Stroud. You got Davion Rhodes. You also have Jamari Whitehead. You got a lot. Kabaseka. You Jacob Ferguson. We got a lot of guys on this roster that's pretty much going to be a problem. And last but not least, name just popped in my head. Latrell Bullard, 6'1", 350 on that defensive line. It's going to be a lot for this team to overcome. I'm just being honest. There's a lot of names on here that are actually pretty solid. Defensive backs, Elijah McDowell, Tracy Hill, Prince Green, Chance Gamble. I mean, it's a lot of guys. It really is. So I don't know much about the entire roster of Fresno State, but from what I've seen, I just don't see anything out there that's really going to be like, hey, we got to look out for this person. If I have to pick anybody, I would say E.J. Warner, because he does have some talent, and I think he can make this team go if needed. Also, another thing I don't want to overlook is Pearson, their linebacker, did have 12 tackles. So that's something to think about as well. So I don't have anything else. I just feel like Georgia Southern could probably win this game. I'd say by 14 points, maybe the max, probably more than that, depends on how it goes. And I think they're going to, probably at the minimum eke this game out by 3. So 3 to 14 points. I see that. I think Georgia Southern has too many weapons. I really do. A lot of people overlook this team. You seen it last year when Boise State, they overlooked us, and they literally had to take it to the final quarter, at the final half of the final quarter, to put us away after us putting up 45 points. So, and Ashton Jeanty did his thing against us, but it still was a fairly respectable game. And us going up against Fresno State under these conditions, I see where Fresno State has the advantage being at home, and it may be a different team, but at the same time, I do feel like Georgia Southern is going to be the better team. So let me know what you guys think. I'm going to get up out of here. I will be back to talk about the post part of this game, probably be live. So if you want to check out the live stream of that, definitely will be talking about it. Hopefully you guys will be there. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace.